Walking out of my screening of The Joker, I didn't know how I should feel, but I remember this sensation of breathlessness, of unease, and I wondered how director Todd Phillips could go from this
So there is a tiger in the bathroom!
to this. It's pretty unprecedented. The 2019 version of The Joker is a reimagining of sorts of the famous Batman villain and follows Arthur Fleck, a down on his luck guy who is misunderstood by almost everyone, who lives in a trash heap of a city. At least, that's the premise I got from the beginning of the film. Fast forward 2 hours and I was frankly stunned. And that's a weird feeling because I kinda knew what the general plot was going to be. This is not the most unpredictable movie in the world, but the execution of it all made me understand why Joker won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival.
Joker by Todd Phillips.
Joaquin Phoenix gives probably one of the best performances of his career, and that's saying something, because he melts into the role of this man sent spiraling into insanity by the forces of the society around him. His performance is physically wondrous at times and grotesque in others, and I found myself shuddering the most when we see how much weight the actor has lost for this role. This one's definitely an Oscar contender, guys.
There was something that was drawing me towards it, and it just evolved. Like as we worked together and went through prep, it started becoming something more than I could have anticipated, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my career.
The score, the soundtrack, and the sound design in Joker are all impeccable. The songs were carefully chosen to evoke a sense of confusion and chaos as they use upbeat and soulful tracks to accompany this carefree violence and unruliness on display. And I'm no music expert, but I thought the score for the film had this unsettling elegance to it, from tense cello pieces that made me feel like a bunch of strings were about to snap, to these bass-heavy roars which made it seem like the very gates of the underworld were about to open up for our main character. It's not surprising at all that the composer Hildur Guðnadóttir previously worked on Chernobyl, Arrival, and The Revenant, stories which have all benefited from her sharp, ominous, and beautiful sound.
So my way of following characters is really much in just tweaking sounds, to do subtle psychological shifts without people noticing it.
Where Joker shines the brightest, or should I say blots the darkest, is in its portrayal of society, and this for me is where the uneasiness fully crept in. On a superficial level, the film can be interpreted as one where violence is used to combat violence, where a man with a mental condition ends up turning to violence to surface his emotions. I can't find the proper word to describe the chaos, but I admit one word that did come to mind was glorified. And I think a more realistic interpretation takes into account how the madness of Arthur came to be, how the social pressures of an unappreciating and unforgiving world can make any desperate person do the unimaginable. The film explores how urbanization and consumerism can and will shape our planet, how our apathy and alienation of the vulnerable and needy can turn into this proletariat revolution. For individuals like Arthur, all it takes is the wrong environment and a little push to make a madman. This concept isn't new, but applying that to a comic book character was a stroke of genius from Todd Phillips. From an audience engagement perspective, where Joker falls short is in its ending, which I think could have been cut by about 10 minutes. The film has at least 2 moments which I thought were perfect moments to end with a bang, but the film kept running instead. And I can't help but wonder if the ending scenes of the script were written to service some sort of continuation of the story in the future. One scene in particular felt slightly shoehorned in, which disappointed me because by that point I was already swept up by the craziness, the brutality, and the grittiness of this movie. Joker certainly isn't for kids, and honestly, I'm not sure it's for some adults either. But if cinema's job is to make us feel, to make us reflect upon how we've been living life, and to acknowledge that some of it is its own brand of crazy, then I think Joker did a damn good job. Hey, what's happening guys? Hope you've been doing well and hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, then share it on all your social media platforms. I super appreciate it. I've been experimenting lately. I've been trying new things, a new format. You may notice that this video is a bit different from my previous ones. It's shorter, it's sweeter, but it's also more analytical, and that's what I want to be doing going forward. You know, I don't just want to go into a film and tell you whether I liked it or not. I want to take a closer look. I want to look at what the filmmakers are trying to say, how the film reflects society as well as our future and our past. So that's what I'm gonna be doing going forward. I think it brings more value to my videos. So if you want to see more from me, click that subscribe button above, and I look forward to creating more for you guys in the future. So until next time, have a great week ahead, maximum hype, and I'll see you next time.